Hello and welcome to the Introduction to Monitoring Device Sensors in LiveCode. I'm Devin AC. This is a mini lesson for the Digit 310 course at BYU. So all smartphones nowadays have a number of onboard sensors that allow you to detect certain things about your environment. We're going to talk about some of those sensors and how LiveCode allows you to access those sensors and read the inputs. So what sensors do we have access to from LiveCode? Well, first of all, the GPS receiver, the magnetometer, the gyroscope, and the accelerometer. And you ask, well, what do those do? Let's talk about what each of those them do. So the location sensor. Now these are names of the sensors in the LiveCode language, and I'll relate those to what the actual onboard sensors are. The location sensor in LiveCode will allow you to read the latitude, longitude, and altitude of the device. The heading sensor allows you to read the heading that the device is pointed. The rotation rate allows you to see how fast the device is rotating along the three major axes. And finally, the acceleration sensor will tell you the orientation or the falling rate of the device. We'll go into what those all mean in the next slides. So the location sensor, that tracks the device location using a combination of the device's global positioning system receiver and cellular and Wi-Fi triangulation. So the GPS system is a system of satellites that covers the entire Earth virtually, and your sensor can get readings from those satellites. In addition to that, there are cellular and Wi-Fi transmission points all over the place, and by triangulating your position with the known locations of those transmitters, you can get usually a more exact reading of your current location. The heading sensor tracks the direction that the device is pointing. The onboard magnetometer senses the Earth's magnetic field and basically allows you to create a compass on your smartphone, as you see in the little video. The rotation rate sensor tracks device rotation around the X, Y, and Z axes using the device's gyroscope. So if you imagine holding that smartphone in your hand, if you rotate it side to side, you're rotating around the Z-axis. If you rotate it backward and forward, toward and away from yourself, you're rotating around the X-axis. If you hold it vertically and twist it back and forth, you're rotating around the Y-axis. Finally, the acceleration sensor tracks the device's orientation and the falling speed using the device's accelerometer and gyroscopes. So again, you've got the three axes X, Y, and Z. This is how the device knows which orientation it's in. So if it's sitting flat on a tabletop, the Z-axis is where the acceleration is felt. This is the potential acceleration that is caused by the pull of gravity. If I set the device straight up and down with the short side on the table, then it's accelerating along the Y-axis. And if I set it sideways in landscape mode, we're accelerating along the X-axis. So that's really how you tell the orientation of the devices with that accelerometer. So let's talk about LiveCode's language tokens that it gives us for reading and knowing about the onboard sensors. First of all, there is a function called mobile sensor available that reports whether the named sensor type is available on that device. So it returns true or false. So it looks like this, and the sensor type parameter would be one of these four: location, heading, acceleration, or rotation rate. And it would look like this in context. So if mobile sensor available, location, then you can do some things with location reporting because you have verified that it does have a location sensor. So let's look at some keywords for actually reading the sensors once we know that they're installed. So you've got a mobile start tracking sensor command, and again, this will look a little bit familiar. You've got the 4 sensor types that you can essentially turn on with this command, and then it would look a little bit like this. So if I wanted to start reading information from the tracking sensor, I would specify the location parameter. Now when you're done tracking that sensor, you just turn it off with the mobile stop tracking sensor command. And there's an example of that syntax. Finally, when you are tracking these sensors, when you're reading the sensors, each of the sensors is going to send a specific message to LiveCode. So for example, the location sensor, when that is on, it will send a location changed message. When the heading sensor is on, it will send a heading sensor changed message. It will send the heading sensor changed message. When the acceleration sensor is on, it's going to send an acceleration changed message. And when the rotation sensor is on, it will send a rotation changed message. By handling those messages and taking the information that are sent along with those messages, you can do a lot of things to respond to the sensor inputs. This has just been an overview. You can see more details at livecode.byu.edu/mobile/device-sensors.php. There you'll see some more fleshed out examples and a few more of the LiveCode tokens that help you work with mobile sensors. Hope you've enjoyed this introduction. See you next time.